Well, boys, welcome into Indiebnb. Today, I'm joined by Wes, Jimmy, and Chris from the band Kobanova.
Kobanova.
Let's start there. Did you guys just combine a bunch of things from movies to make that name? I know Koba is the name of the ape in Planet of the Apes. One of them, at least.
That's true.
That is true. All the good band names were kind of taken, so we had to make one up.
That's how it goes for most bands these days. It seems to be a hodgepodge of words, sometimes nonlinear, like association of words. Ours was pulled some ideas from Kurt Cobain and
Supernova. We were dealing with a big space theme at the time. You know, we were in college. Space is cool.
Oasis fans.
Yeah. So chopped them up and put them together. So Kobanova.
And it's very fun to say. For those at home, please say it. Kobanova.
It does roll.
It rolls off the tongue.
Once you've learned the pronunciation, because we've gotten like Chirs is convinced it's Kobanova.
Yeah.
And that's fair. I don't know what we can do to help her get on the right track.
My brother's Christine, and his name's Christian. So I think she's kind of hopeless. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
But you boys are from Atlanta. It's reflected in the music. I can hear it. I feel the city in your music. Is that something you guys are inspired by?
Mm-hmm. Two out of three of us from Metro Atlanta. You can try to guess the who isn't, but I think we already dropped that information previously.
Yeah, I'm not been out. I'm from Illinois originally, so grew up in Springfield. Got the boys on some Budweiser now, so I'm influencing them down here.
This band is sponsored by Bud Heavy. They love just having a crack in a Bud Heavy.
We do.
It's not often you see it though. Mostly light beer running around here, but I love the Bud Heavy aspect of these guys.
But Jimmy's an Atlanta transplant now, and pretty much.
You feel at home now?
Well, so I mean,
at home.
yeah. Us three have been playing together since 2017. We all went to UGA. Actually, that's where we met our good friend Michael as well back in the day.
So far back, that's right. I said we knew each other as long as we did. Jimmy and I and the boys did meet a long time ago.
So,
babies.
Mr. Millage, which is a philanthropy event that they put on at University of Georgia circa 2017. The fraternities will typically nominate one guy from the pledge class to go up, and it's hosted at Georgia Theater. It's actually a really cool event, but they'll nominate one guy to go do a performance at the theater, so it's usually someone who has a little bit of music ability. Michael had much more than I did, so I think didn't you walk away with the win that year?
Dude, no, I came second actually though. I thought you were also on the podium. I thought I thought you won. I've been thought that for like 2 years.
It most definitely wasn't me.
There's someone else in our circle. If you know who you are, 2017, Mr. Millage, you should comment on this video for sure.
Was
we
he a
miss you,
juggler?
homie.
He was
awesome.
He was a guitar
the
player.
guitar.
Yeah,
I do remember him now. I
was
just remember
Bradley.
the hang was great, and for a freshman in college to be able to play on the Georgia Theater stage, that's pretty rad.
An interesting fact was that all three of us were nominated. We did it on 3 different consecutive years. So I was 2016, he was 2017, he was 2018, and we all had pretty good runs at the.
Did y'all's pledge ships fall like that? Y'all like come into college like that? It's cascading like that?
We did.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So I mean, you guys could have been the Mr. Millage's Mr. Millage. That could have been the name. I mean,
That's where it all got started. But to that point though, so
I'll give you a song name.
Yeah. But we all got started at UGA,
Hilarious.
so that's kind of where we all met. Chris came in the year after I did, and then Wes is a year older than myself. So,
for you guys, like all the bands I talk to and that are from Athens, they're very much influenced by the scene. So, when you guys were there, who were the bands that you guys were going to see?
One of my favorite concerts in Athens was always the yearly Houndmouth pilgrimage. So they played every single year.
Going on.
Yeah, still going on. Those guys always just put on such a great show. So that has got to be one of the favorites for me. And I think there was one year where they played it lined up during, I think, the weekend that we won an SEC championship. So it was just perfect,
For me, it was Marcus King, the Marcus King band came into town, I think, when I was turning 21, and I was off the Goodbye Carolina album tour, and it was phenomenal. It was like just the best concert I'd been to date, and that really got me inspired to put some work in and get our project moving.
I think for me, it was they're not playing together anymore, but a band called Jester. When I came in as a freshman, they kind of had this really indie rock sound, which I think kind of influenced the direction that we went. And I still listen to their music today. I think the singer's phenomenal. But they're based out of Athens, but they're not playing much anymore together.
But they live on through your streams.
They do,
and that's good. That's what's good. Well, reason we coming through. Obviously, you guys just came off an awesome Porchfest performance. I was there, freaking loved it. One of the songs you guys played, which was going to be our song spotlight today, 3 Decades. Would love to talk through just each one of you guys, your part in kind of putting that song together, where it came from, and which one of you guys is 30 and it's about, because I know you motherfuckers aren't. So
I'm the closest.
None of y'all are 30 and you wrote a song called 3 Decades?
Yeah, it's a concept song.
We're talking about the future now.
Round up.
Forward facing.
You guys wrote that song about me. I'm just going to tell you.
We wrote a song that when we're 30, it'll make a lot of sense, and we're just going to feel it. We're going to feel it strong. But I'm 27, turning 28 this year. And we're rounding up to 3 decades in the concept there. But also, it was kind of outside of yourself, thinking about your parents and other, just anybody that comes to mind that has spent a good chunk of time really committed to one locality and one aspect of their life, and being not just okay with that, but embracing that they've been committed to one chapter for a while.
Yeah, and I think another piece of that, and I think another thing that we kind of tried to accomplish with some of the storytelling in that song is, the fact that I feel like you have all these goals and aspirations when you're in like your early 20s, like whenever you're kind of starting out school, whenever you're graduating high school, whenever you leave your hometown that you always grew up in. But I think there's a piece of maturity that you can gain from kind of realizing the perspective that, the place that you grew up, just because you've been there before doesn't mean that it's bad. It's like something that's lived in can also be comforting in a way, and there's not necessarily anything wrong with it. So having said that, I moved away from my hometown.
And one thing that I really like about this song, and I think it's kind of funny, is originally it was actually kind of a filler song that we were kind of throwing in this year. And so what we're doing is consistently dropping a song every so many weeks this year to kind of keep feeding the Spotify algorithm. And we wrote this song to kind of throw in there, and it ended up turning out to be at least my favorite song that we've put out. And just big thanks to Michael.
Dude,
for
thanks
making it
to
sound
y'all.
phenomenal.
It's the best song because you just sort of did the thing. It came together so
quick.
naturally.
I'd say it was the fastest that we've put a song together. I mean,
Didn't even need any real editing. You just played the parts that made sense.
definitely.
A fun part of this writing process was starting the whiteboard process.
Yes.
The whiteboard is huge.
That's a big play.
It's coming back.
I think we used to write lyrics down with pen and paper, and you get real attached to the ones that make it onto the paper. But if you go with a whiteboard, every line is equally as removed as it was put on the board. And so we just got better lyrics through the process of just putting them on a whiteboard, seeing it, like saying it back to yourself a few times, and then being like, they could be better, and then being okay with changing it. And that's a new strategy.
Absolutely. I was proud of y'all for that song. I mean, you just embraced objectivity along with just your clear artistic vision. It was a great balance. Yeah, it was awesome.
Mike did a hell of a job mixing that one as well.
True.
It was easy.
Shout out,
That
Mike.
turnaround time was
easy.
quick.
Engineering it was really where the win was.
We had a lot of fun doing that, I will say.
Yeah.
Playing around the room, just going, hey, what goes in is what it's going to be. Remember that. You can't really change this later.
I don't think we had done a guitar sound with reverb baked on it. I don't know if on any of the prior songs.
No, and then we just cooked everything in.
Cooking everything on the way in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds great. I can't wait to do the next one like that.
Yeah.
So whenever we're creating, like, sounds like we got the whiteboard process. Everybody involved there. I mean, are you writing everything high up so that these guys can't go get it, or like?
That's typically the case. Yeah, I put the board up high.
That's amazing.
If I really like the lyric, it's going up high. Yeah.
But for you guys, like, I mean, what about the
I'll
musically?
hoist Jimmy up.
Yeah.
He's got the eraser.
Super person.
Dude, all we got to do is put on a trench coat with me on the shoulders, and we can take him down, no problem.
That's right. That's right.
I love that. Well, like with
Or
the
we lift Chris. That's a whole other photo.
All right.
What about the music part of it, man? Like, y'all, it sounds like the lyrics were whiteboarded out, but like, did the music come first? Did the lyrics come first, and then we filled it in? I mean, we're talking about baking stuff in. I got no fucking idea what y'all are talking about. I mean,
so the baking is when you put a lot of compression or reverb or tones out of the amp, and when you send it in, you record it. That stuff's permanent with it, as opposed to trying to record it in a more pure way and then adding effects later. Like, the effects that we send in are the ones that are going to stay, and you really can't. You locked in with those, so that's baked.
But I mean, I think did you have a question just kind of like to what our creative process kind of looks like?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I want to know, how that song came to be from nothing to something.
We had a chord progression that I was messing around with like the verse and then going into the chorus, and I think Chris and I started just jamming on it in the living room where he has a installation of pianos, and I have an amp next to it, and we start playing it. We end up with a bridge progression, and we kind of felt really comfortable with this arc of this instrumental version. And I had some ideas for some of the lyrics, but then we ended up probably rewriting most of it. Yeah. But the "What's wrong with spending 3 decades in the same damn place" was the one line that kind of stuck with me from the initial chapter of the song, along with the 18 years old. And that kind of had like 2 years in my head, like 18, and we're going on 30. And then what does that mean? And if you're still living in the same place and chasing the same goals, is that okay? And I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. I think like as somebody who is in that era of my life, like you kind of look back at your 20s and you're like, man, like I don't feel like I didn't move around a lot. I didn't do any like experiences, but like there's nothing wrong with really getting your roots in somewhere and 100%. Enjoying it and getting to be a regular at a bar and having people know who you are.
Right.
Going places and doing stuff.
Right.
It's good stuff. When you guys obviously released it, you mentioned you guys have like a cascade of releases that are, sort of on their way out. Is this leading to an album? What's kind of the plan?
Most definitely. So we've got plans,
Big plans
for the future. But yeah, so we've definitely put thought into this. Like Chris was mentioning, we kind of have this cascading schedule where we just want to make sure that we release songs that in a time frame that's going to benefit that Spotify algorithm, because that's what we all got to chase nowadays anyway. But yeah, so this is we're kind of cruising through. I think we're over the halfway mark of the first half of the second album.
All right.
So big plans. We've got
big plans. So the first half of that album will be packaged in what we're calling the Ballroom EP. So we've got one more single to roll out in the next 6 weeks, and then that will be concluded with a single and title track for the EP called Ballroom, which we're really excited about. We finished that one several months ago, and we've just been sitting on it.
It's awesome.
That one's already baked too.
And it's baked and it's ready, but it needs a whole collection of songs to kind of lead up to it, and I think it will be a nice end cap. And then we've got some songs picked out that we're gonna track for the second half of the year and for August through December, and release those in a similar fashion, and then probably package it all together at the end of the year, release it, a couple bonus tracks,
maybe some live stuff, maybe some Porchfest stuff. You never know.
Mm-hmm. Some Porchfest stuff. All right.
So that's the goal. Yeah, it's a whole album this year, released over the course of the year.
Got it. Well, excited to hear that. Everybody, their links will be in the bio below. go follow them on Spotify. If you do it, then you don't have to worry about when they release something because it'll just come up on your what's new. So
sometimes,
Exactly right.
make it easy.
sometimes
It will.
You might even have to go research when it comes out because there's a lot of music coming out every day, and you only get a small selection of
On your
the
what's
stuff.
new, you do it?
Yeah, even that. Even if you don't get all the music that's recommended,
It can be really tough.
it can be tough. We have X amount of followers on Spotify. Maybe that's 1,500 right now, and it'll show you when you release a song the percentage of followers that have listened to the song in the first 2 months, and we rarely break 20%. So it's crazy that the followers of your account don't get that. Get it?
They should get it served to them, but they don't.
But they don't.
Well, there's an interesting stat, and I might need to fact check this, but I read that there's about like 70,000 new songs drop every day on Spotify.
That sounds about right.
I believe that.
That's probably about
And
right.
so just trying to stay competitive and stand out with 70,000 obviously presents a challenge.
It's a lot of options
It is. It's a lot of options.
for that day.
God.
But I mean, that's the reality of it, because I think music has changed so much now where you can just do everything online, upload an MP3, and you're published on Spotify.
Let it rip.
And so, which is a good and bad thing.
Yeah, definitely bad because like I could go make something and that would be horseshit.
An
And
AI
could
can make
I could
something.
still put it. An AI can make something. That's true. Yeah, we don't want that. Good.
Yeah,
You make something.
True.
the barriers to entry are definitely lower, which, anybody can make a song, but, that in itself is not necessarily a bad thing because, you got a lot of people trying their hand at it, and every once in a while you get somebody who's really good and making cool creative stuff.
In their basement.
In their basement.
Fire.
Yeah, with, just this microphone and nothing else.
Or their iPhone mic.
Yeah.
Like on GarageBand on their phone.
Well, and I think that we've even talked about this in here before when tracking. It's like some of these songs that are crazy popular nowadays do not necessarily have like an absolute masterclass of production behind them.
Oh, absolutely not.
And I think you can probably speak to that a little bit,
Well,
right?
yeah, it's just like there's always going to be some 14-year-old in their bedroom doing it better than you, no matter what you do, pretty much. It's just about, it sounds so corny, but it's just about how much you care about it when you're doing it. Like, yeah, I think it comes down to that. Like, if you're not stoked on it, you're doing something wrong. Like, that's sort of what it comes down. If you're, and that comes into overthinking. Like, I think that's the biggest part.
Well, gotcha. Well, another thing I'm stoked on for you guys, City View, another kind of, again, Atlanta feeling track. I'd love to know what, what part of town you've looked across and you kind of got inspired by that song. Each of you guys. I mean, I'm sure it's, a different view from each one of you guys. So,
Yeah, I mean, I can kick it off. So it's funny how that kind of song started. We've been having that one, we've been working that in the back pocket for a very long time, and it was just nice to finally get it on paper and get it out there. And actually, I'll have to give credit to Wes on this one, because driving to his house, there's a bridge, and when you go over this bridge, it's got this really nice view of the Atlanta skyline, and I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, is kind of what initiated the lyric side.
That was the original visual. Is that 85 going north? If you come off 400 and you take 85 north, and you get like this nice kind of panoramic midtown to downtown view of the city. And if you watch the music video, it's the last shot, and it fades out right there. And that was the original synthesis of like, okay, that's what a real city view is, but in this city, and then we built a song. We built a song around it. So that ride from Atlanta up to Athens, you kind of get that view if you're coming out of town.
And I think Wes touched on a really good point there. Like, obviously, so we've got a whole music video that's, in my opinion, phenomenal. Proclamation Recordings did an excellent job with that. But I think when you're just mentioning, it's that drive back from Athens, that you can kind of see the Atlanta skyline. And for all of our Atlanta visuals that we have in the song and in the music video, there's no explicit lyric that really tells you exactly where you are. Mm-hmm. You could be in any city. It's still
True.
And I feel like everybody kind of has that feeling whenever you have a connection to a place like that of, you're driving through, you start to see the landmarks that you recognize, and it just kind of feels something, feels like home, or feels like whatever your past relationships were there. And I think that's kind of the essence of what we were trying to capture.
I've driven that many times,
Right
and I wish I could have. I want to now when I drive home tonight. I'm gonna go rip it and see have some City View playing. I'll really get the full feel,
Whole experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you guys are obviously we got some plans. We've got things coming up. Love talking about touring. I want to talk about the Porchfest set though first, of like how we came up with order, covers, reasons you guys did certain things, and I mean, again, the set was unbelievable. Obviously, you guys played 6 inch, you played City View, you played all of the 3 decades, which again I knew it, but the crowd was into it. They loved it. So coming into the covers, coming into all that stuff, like y'all meet as a band and start like, all right, we're going these and these, or is somebody, one person in charge? Is that a whiteboard project?
Not necessarily a whiteboard project for that one, but I think we each kind of put in input, and the beautiful thing about having 3 kind of decision makers is that
quick final decision.
There's no gridlock,
right.
So we kind of, if there's a disagreement, it's always going to be 2 to 1 somehow. So it makes our decision making process very efficient, but at the same time I feel like we all have input. I
think I threw around a mock-up list for this one, got some challenges from Jimmy and Chris. They were good recommendations, really good recommendations, and then within about 20 minutes we were like, all right, that's good, so we just chopped a couple out, added a couple ones in, and we went from there. So the covers, one headlight is one we've done for several years, but we haven't played it in a while. It was fun. It was fitting for the moment.
Yeah, that's one that what we were trying to do. We were trying to refresh like some of the covers that we play, because starting in Athens, we started as a cover band like most bands do, and just trying to find songs that people don't realize that they know. And I feel like that one really fit the bill.
100%. Everybody, like I was screaming it there in the back, like it was awesome. We had like everybody knows that song, but they don't know they know that song. I love that.
Yeah, so that's a good one. And then we've been working on this mashup for a while. That's I think is pretty special. Little Tennessee whiskey.
Tennessee, yeah. And I'm a huge fan. Actually, funny enough, for the Mr. Millers that we talked about earlier, I did a 3-minute mashup of just a bunch of songs, and so I'm always a big fan of putting songs that don't necessarily belong together into a series, and so that's kind of what we did with our mashup. We did Tennessee Whiskey into Too Sweet, and then into Pink Pony Club, and I think the audience received it well, and so I think we'll definitely keep that in the set for a little bit.
The idea is that you kind of ramp up the audience appreciation for each cover as you go. So we got to one that was, we got this Tennessee Whiskey, and I feel like we got an element of the audience really into that, and then you get an element of the audience that loves Hozier, and they'll sing along to that, and then you bring it all together with Pink Pony, and by that time everybody was singing and we were singing.
Never met somebody who doesn't like Pink Pony Club.
Right. So is a journey. It was an arc, and it worked out. It worked out pretty cool.
As someone who rode the journey, I enjoyed the journey.
Awesome.
Appreciate that.
The funny thing, Chapel Roan almost came on this show. She was right before Midwest Princess came out. She did DM me back and said, "Yeah, possibly. I've got a couple things going on."
I mean, that offer's still out there.
Didn't get her on.
Come through. We're still here. You need an opener.
Yet.
Didn't get on her yet. That's right. Well,
yet's a powerful word.
Hey.
Yet is a powerful word, man.
We'll take it. I'll take it. I'll try. But, well, awesome. So you guys, I mean, is that typically what we're seeing with the tour? I mean, if you guys were, we planning a tour, what do we got kind of in the works?
I think it's the anti-tour tour right now.
Where to put it?
Where the goal this year was we have to release music and get ourselves to finish these songs that we've been noodling on for several years. I think we're going to finish a song this year that the original guitar riff was written 5 years ago in 2020, COVID era.
Wow.
And so finishing these songs is like priority number one, and priority number two is to find great moments to play the new songs. But we're okay with once a month, and even less frequent if it calls for it to get the songs finished, and then next year we'd like to play more often potentially. So that's the game plan.
I love it. They've got a game plan. They've got the touring schedule locked down for now, but it sounds like soon we're going to be once we get all these things out.
We're
looking
excited.
forward to it.
We're going to make our first trip to Nashville this year to play a real ticketed show. That's going to announce pretty soon. And then that same bill is playing at Aisle 5. So the 3 bands together about to announce for Aisle 5 and then follow up with the East Rim in Nashville. So we're excited about that.
It's going to be good stuff. And we're still playing shows. We've got Ramshackle Fest coming up.
Ramshackle, we're doing a trio set at the Chattahoochee Nature Preserve in June on a Thursday for their concert series. So June is definitely busy for us, and then it looks like it's going to thin out a little bit.
All right.
Focus on the tunes.
Well, you guys follow them on all the socials. Follow them on Spotify. Get all the action, so you can make sure you know when Kobanova's going to be around your area.
How long were you at Porchfest?
I was there for 2 sets. I was there for the Perfect Animals, and I was not the Perfect Animals. Perfect Animal. I announced them, and I just said their name wrong. And of course, was there for y'all. So I was there for about 4 hours, or it felt like 4 hours. It was really 2.
That's a day.
It was a day. It was pretty sweaty. I can lie to you. But
can concur. So something that we were thinking about was just shining some light on the team that went into making Porchfest a success, and we really relied on our friend Ripkin with the Atlanta Mobile Studio, and our other friend Michael Thomason, who is our front of house engineer, and so they split the responsibilities between running front of house and monitors and all the lines and the engineering. And in between them, we were able to accomplish like a pretty massive setup in 60 minutes and start at in really 65 minutes in from getting the area to play. And that was super crazy to pull off. And I wasn't expecting us to really get off the ground for another 15, 20 minutes. So got to give a shout out to those guys for making it possible.
Yeah, it's tough to it's tough to get a sound that can cover a whole street kind of like that when you're outdoors and try to get it all accomplished in under an hour. So, shout out to all the guys that can make that happen, because it takes a team. We were up at 7 a.m. dropping stuff up, and
they shut down the roads at 10 a.m. so that you got to get everything there in the morning.
It's a long day. Obviously rewarding.
Laps.
But there's a lot of pre-planning that goes into that 1 hour time slot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Is a sprint. You're kind of coordinating all week just to have a 1 hour sprint where it's go time, and then that go time was in front of a large group of people, and you're like you keep looking up and going, oh my god, and then you're like, okay, what do we have to plug in next? Like it was just right down the list, but with the right people.
Then 5 o'clock rolls around and you're like, oh shit, I hope it works.
I'll say this: you guys both sets, I think y'all lucked out. Like you guys had, the shade from the tree right there,
oh,
and
word.
you guys were
Blessed.
in a good spot. So Perfect Animal, just shady tree,
I like the house that you guys played at.
Dude, that was so
Nicely
much fun.
done.
I wanted to see y'all set so bad. When I think I passed out for like an hour after ours. Just dehydration.
Oh yeah.
And then of course y'all's was like we're on top of a hill next to a bar, and so that was very convenient. I was able to go back and forth very easily. But there was.
It's like a built-in amphitheater there.
Yeah,
it is.
You guys got to get some of those photos framed from behind the drum kit. It looks unbelievable.
3 years ago, we finished our first Porchfest set just down the street, and we packed up, and I walked down, and I saw a band playing at 886, and they were crushing it, and I saw just a huge crowd of people watching it, and I was like, wow, this really feels like an amphitheater over here. And with enough persistence, we requested to try to get to that house the following year, and then we were able to repeat that again this year, and it's been able to grow a lot, and that is a cool place to set up for a show.
Shout out the Basils, good people.
Do it again next
Great
year.
people. We're already thinking about covers for next year.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I bet you're playing it.
There's already covers in the works. I love it. Well, guys, we're gonna kind of wrap this thing up with a couple segments. Number 1 will be Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. It's going to be 20 questions right in a row, and we'll go this way, going down. So we'll rip that, and then, of course, I'm going to have you guys all pull your phones out and tell me what the last thing you searched on Spotify was. So, and if that is embarrassing, too bad. All right. So Pete Peterson's party pack of questions, 20 questions right in a row.
Is it rapid fire? Or
Rapid fire.
Okay.
We're going to try to get you. Let's see how fast you three can get through this. The perfect animal score is, a minute 15. Not fucking with you. It's not a minute 15.
I don't remember.
All right, here we go. Cake or pie?
Cake.
Cake.
Pie.
All right, 2 out of 3 there. Salad or soup?
Salad.
Soup.
Salad.
All right. Sunrise or sunset? What are you guys seeing more of?
Set.
Yeah, sunset.
Set.
All right. Would you rather hit a home run or score a touchdown?
Score a touchdown.
Home run.
TD.
Teeter. All right. Home runs.
Shout out the Birds. St. Louis Cardinals, baby. Let's go.
Oh, my God. Somebody beat him up. This is Braves country. All right. You guys more likely to have a night out or a night in these days?
I'd say probably a night in, honestly.
50-50.
Yeah.
We're in.
You're in. All right.
Yeah.
When you do go out, though, and, your jam comes on, whether it be Pink Pony Club or something else,
Mm-hmm.
you're more likely to hit the robot or the worm.
I'm going bot. I can't do the worm.
There was a day I used to rip a pretty mean worm.
Dude, you would be
but-
the longest worm in the
I
world,
could
bro.
I could go both ways.
You're a whole
Front and
snake.
back.
He's a switch hitter.
No, I'm just not sure I'm as flexible as I used to be, so
I'm
probably going
robot,
robot.
too.
Yeah.
All right, we're robots across the board. All right. When you go to your favorite Tex-Mex spot, are you a guac or a queso person?
Queso.
Queso, allergic to guac.
Allergic to guac.
Wow. All
I didn't
right.
know that.
Wait, both of you?
Allergic to avocados, yeah.
Same.
I've never met a single person allergic
We've
to
never
avocado.
Did not
Confirmed
know
that
that about
mutually.
you.
Yeah. We should write a song about that.
Wow,
Wow.
you heard it here first.
I mean, avocado allergy obviously is the album title next. I mean, what are we talking about here? All right, waffles or pancakes?
Pancakes.
Waffles.
Pancakes.
All right, here we go. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Tea.
Coffee.
All right, here we go. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
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 I mean, that was a dumb one after all. Ninja or a pirate? What do you identify more with?
Probably a pirate.
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 All right, scurvy. Let's do it. Gatorade or Powerade?
Gatorade.
Powerade.
Gatorade.
Blue.
Ooh, Powerade Blue. You guys probably had a bunch of Gatorade and Powerade after that show. Toast or bagels?
Bagels.
Bagels. Shout out Brooklyn Bagel in Delhi.
Oh, yeah. So good.
Bagel.
All right. Chips or pretzels?
Chips.
Chips.
Kettle cooked. Chips.
Chips. All right. Fries or tots?
Fries.
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 After a long day, TV show or a movie to unwind?
Movie.
TV show.
TV show.
All right. Are aliens real?
Maybe.
I hope.
I joined Chris on the maybe.
Maybe. Is Bigfoot real?
No.
Nah.
Not sold.
I think it's just a hairy guy.
Is love at first sight real?
No.
Yeah.
Could be.
All right. Give me one band, each of you guys, that we don't know that we ought to check out.
I think you should look at Future Birds.
Future Birds.
Mm-hmm.
Improvement movement.
Improvement Movement.
Pliny.
Pliny. Spell that out for everybody.
Plini. It's melodic metal.
Melodic metal. All right.
Instrumental.
Interesting.
Interesting. All right. Divide and Dissolve. You should check them out if you like that. All right. Now, everybody, please take your cell phones out and
Oh boy.
tell us what you were searching on Spotify.
Wes purposely threw his phone across the room so he didn't have to do this.
All right, here we go. And I will also go. Other than the people sitting in this room, my last search was Craig Finn. Craig Finn from the Hold Steady, his solo stuff.
So my last search was Electric Feel.
Electric
Actually,
Feel.
I was listening to that last night.
Love that.
My last search was 27 by the Future Birds.
All right. Shout out the Birds.
RC Drive.
RC Drive. Louie, dude. I'm going. I'll see you there. October. They're a great band. Awesome, guys. Well, thank y'all so much for coming on the podcast. Obviously, looking forward to all of the rest of the releases you guys have coming out this year, and you guys send them to us. We'll promote the hell out of them, man. And if you find yourself at a Kobanova show, get ready. It's going to be amazing.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
Appreciate
us.
it.
Brandon.
Yep.